Okay, here we go again, take 3. All right, this is our history wall box, folks. This is the actual box that mounts onto the wall. We talked about a 2-step process. We have the wall mounted box, and then we have the shoebox lid, which I'll get to in a moment. So this box here, you'll see has a finger pull up top to be able to pull this light panel off. And then it has the 1/2-inch recess here that allows us to recess the light panel so it sits flush with the face. Ports at the top for airflow and so on and so on. We put a video monitor in, we can cut more holes, etc. And ports down at the bottom as well, once again for airflow. You could see that we could minimize box depth as well. We'll talk about that. And then our power plug, very clean and effective, is a single plug that goes through the back. We're going to put our light panel on now. And it just basically sits in place, holds in there nice and cleanly with Velcro, and that is our light panel. Easy to take on and off if we ever needed to service the unit. And that is the panel turned on. We then have here, if you can see at the back, just very clean. We're gonna have our little transformer mounted. Wire comes out the bottom. There is a plug here somewhere where it plugs into itself. It's hidden away, it's right in there, but anyway. And that would be our connect and disconnect point, so we're not having to take the transformer off and so on and so on, okay? So you can see from the light panel itself that there's a lot of scoring on this panel, and these lines that are scored through, the patent of this process is that the light source itself, which is rigid high intensity LED at 5600K color, which is pure sunlight, basically emits through all of these channels that are engraved into the panel. And the process that they use here, which is once again patented by LumaSheet or DLC, is that the further you get towards the center of the panel, the closer the ribs are, and that allows for greater intensity throughout the center there. So what we do have afterwards that goes over top of this, Nella, if you can grab the graphic again. What we do have afterwards that I only have an image of right now because it's at the printer, is there is a lid that basically seats over top of this, and that lid has, in the picture you'll see, about a 1-inch border that goes all the way around in the same matching black acrylic. The lid caps over the side of this box, so it's just one clean finish all the way around. You physically will not see any of this box, depending on the depth, of course. The actual lid portion itself will be cut to the exact depth, so, or the depth plus the 1/8 of an inch. And then the graphic is mounted in from the rear. So here we have the unacceptable, let's call it, graphic. And the reason is, as you saw from the image, it was a work in progress for us to basically put this box together and figure out the engineering of how we were going to build it. And we did not have you allow for the 1-inch border that we had to put on to hide that light source, this LED light source along the perimeter here. So what ended up happening, as you could see from the glue where this was basically glued in through the back, is these letters were being cut off, and I just thought that was unacceptable. The other unacceptable aspect of this, Nella, if you put it up against the box itself. The other thing, as you can see here, is you see the lighting basically bleed through. So when you get that 1-inch lip on here, that's essentially what we cover. And when you see it, and I spoke to Chris about this when we were talking on the phone, right now it's 1 inch. If you feel we need to go a little bit more because there is a little bleed still happening, then that's something that we can easily do. The other reason this was unacceptable is the process that this printer used. Although it was a $1 million egg for machine, it's basically a sausage factory. This thing is done so that it makes a lot of money really, really fast. And when you're dealing with these types of prints, you don't want speed to be a factor. You want the clarity of the print and the number of micropixels that go on. The machine that we are now printing it on is actually designed for backlight process. It's an OSE machine. It's a $1.8 million machine. And it has a backlit feature that allows it to put the ink down at a different rate, at a slower rate, and eliminates this horrible banding that you see on this print here, which looks like a pinstripe suit. Obviously not acceptable. And that banding, as you see, basically happens throughout this print. So there's no way that we wanted this floating around at Spin Master. So when you talk about different processes that we basically spoke about, you know, can we see vinyls and this and that and different things? My printer said, quote unquote, there is no other process. These machines, everything else is being basically wiped out and has become the age of the dinosaur with silk screen and various other processes. These machines, the really high-end machines, are designed to do everything. Silk screening, nobody has a bed to do it. Vinyls, yes, you can do it, but then how do you intermix the vinyls with the images? When you're talking about some images here that are probably pushing 20 years old, when half a megapixel was the cat's meow in terms of picture quality. So this is why you get such intense lighting in some areas and you don't in others. So the print that you're actually going to be receiving, that I'm hoping to get today, that will be sent to you with this test panel, you'll simply be able to, by a switch, turn the light on and off and see the difference between a lit and a non-lit version. It's not going to be a separate print. It is the actual same print. I'm also told, and don't quote me on this because I'm hearing a lot of things come from suppliers, that all my dreams and wishes will come true, and unfortunately when I get the product they don't. And that is that the color intensity and saturation would be the same whether it's lit or non-lit. Obviously that is not the case in this print, but I'm being told with the new process that it will be. And again, I hope to get that back today. That unit that's coming back is the print itself mounted to the exterior box, which you see a photo of in the email. When we get it, we will mount it and rerun just a final minute of this video at the end showing the shoebox lid basically being applied. It is a friction fit. It almost suctions into place, so you don't want to be doing too much twisting with it or you're going to break the seam. It's just a very gradual rocking type motion, you know, 1/8 inch at a time, and it just wiggles its way off, on, and off of the panel. So now look, could you turn the light off, please? So this this essentially is the same print, poor print, I'm sorry, but it is the same print with the light off. I'm told it's going to be much better quality, of course. And as Chris and I talked about, and I think it seems to be the general consensus, is that potentially doing something with some really good quality front lighting may be the way to go to highlight some of these areas, utilizing rigid LED color correct strips that are dimmable, and that we can do dimmable by area so that we can actually play with the intensity of an area and play with the intensity even just based on a background color of the graphic. And certainly hoping that in the new print that the whites are true white and not cloud gray, which you probably can't see much of in the print here, but it certainly is not the white that we were expecting. Anyway, that's it for this video, and hope to have this box in your hands tomorrow and we can get further into it and have you guys make some decisions on a direction. I am going to see about getting some various LED light sources, other than the backlit, of course, which you do have with this, but other light sources whereby we could show frontal lighting, down lighting, potentially in this is the side, because I don't want to bend over right now, but this is the side, so assuming that's the bottom, you could easily, you know, somewhere along the bottom here, cut in some rigid LED as well. So if you had a box over top here, like a date block, say, that stuck out, you know, so far, or whatever the case, then we could potentially put some LED light that shines down onto the panel. All right, talk to you soon. Thanks.